Have you been watching any more wrestling since the big Wednesday Night War?
Believe it or not, I did. Should we even talk about this now? Smackdown on Fox?
Get
or
out
should
of here.
we leave it for... Because I didn't make notes. It was an accidental drive-by watching.
I think we should talk about it here because if we do it on the show this week, it'll end up being a 4-hour show.
Well, that's true because there's so much wrestling now. But no, a Friday evening, I was in the TV room, and of course I was working as normal because it was waking hour. So of course that means I'm working. I'm doing paperwork. I'm filling orders, Cornette's collectibles. I'm planning the Christmas season. I'm negotiating with the various television projects that I'm going to be doing upcoming over the next few months, et cetera, et cetera. And I see that there is Smackdown coming on Fox for the first time in like 5 minutes. I said, well, I got to put this on. Boy, howdy, I think we answered the question of who is going to do the best technical production of a wrestling program this year or maybe century. What a fucking... From a television aspect, that show was brilliant. Did you see the graphics? Did you watch the program?
I didn't watch it. I haven't seen any of it.
The fucking graphics, just the opening graphics that Fox has come up with. This is Major League Big Time Pro Sports now, folks, because whether they're going to present a product that could be taken as a sport is subject to debate. But this is just as good as the NFL, UFC, anything else on Fox Sports. I know television to some extent, the production end of it, and they didn't have some fucking college friend of Greg the office boy doing the fucking graphics on this show, I'll tell you that. And the way it was shot and just the overall production of the program was tremendous.
Is this the first time that WWF has gotten away from the Dick Ebersol influence in terms of production? Because was Kevin Dunn running the production?
Well, I don't know, but it was on Fox, so they spent a lot of money, and they had a lot of good people in charge of it. Kevin Dunn may have been running production, but he wasn't pushing a button on anything. At Kevin Dunn's point in his life now, he's the Coco Do, and all of the guys who know and girls who know what they're doing actually do it. But anyway, a couple of things. About the pro. Number one, if I could see women, and I don't have notes. I didn't take notes because I said, I'm going to watch it like you did the other day. I'm just going to watch it live and not fucking study it, but what's going to attract me? If I could see women's wrestling like that all day long, then I'd watch it all day long. But the problem is you can't see women's wrestling like that all day long. It was, oh God, it was Charlotte and... It was a tag match, and I don't have notes, but Charlotte and Bayley and Becky Lynch. And no, it wasn't Becky Lynch because she was in the deal with The Rock. By the way, The Rock is still the best worker in the wrestling business. It's a whole other step above, and people wonder why you couldn't follow that. You almost couldn't follow the fucking Rock in the wrestling business. And Rock and Austin at the same time. No wonder we fucking, shit to bed after that. Becky Lynch fucking held up her part of the deal, but the girls tag, goddamn Charlotte is just tremendous. Bayley was excellent. The other two girls that were in there, and I can't remember their names now because I didn't plan to do this, but goddamn it, but it was a great women's fucking tag match. And it just brought up that, remember when I said about world class in Dallas? The first year, the David Von Erich Memorial, Kerry challenging Flair for the title and actually winning it, they had a match that needed a stadium. There was no indoor building in Dallas Reunion Arena couldn't hold half the crowd that came to see it, right? They had a match that needed a stadium. Yeah. Every year after that, when they decided they were going to do that every summer, they had a stadium that needed a match. It would be wonderful to have as many women's matches as men's matches, as we talked about on the Experience last week. That's what a lot of these shows seem to be trying to do. If there were as many women that could work like Charlotte and Bayley and the other two girls, look that goddamn thing up. I got to put them over, and I've just completely blanked. Look it up while I'm blathering. But if they could work like that, then yes. But there's not as many top quality girls as there are guys. There just aren't. And so sometimes you have girls matches for the sake of having girls matches rather than having girls matches because those girls need to be on the program. I'm not calling anybody's specific name. It shouldn't be on television. And I'm not just saying in the WWF. I'm saying there's a lot of girl wrestling these days, but there's not a lot of high-level performers like this. Who was in it? Do you know yet?
I believe it was Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair versus Bayley and Sasha Banks.
Okay, that's who it, yes. And I'm sorry, and Becky Lynch had already been out in the promo with The Rock. But anyway, that was a goddamn... It was as good as anything the guys did because they are at a high level. And that Seth Rollins was on the program against Shinsuke Nakamura. If only somebody in 2010 could have been screaming that Tyler Black, a.k.a. Seth Rollins, is going to be the future superstar. He's incredible. He's got all the tools. If only somebody sitting ringside for his match with Davey Richards in Toronto that summer when it was 120 degrees could have said, this is goddamn modern Flair and Steamboat. Especially Tyler Black. I love Davey. His head wasn't there, but, this guy's going to be a fucking superstar. If only somebody could have thrown their body in between Tyler Black and a bullshit TNA contract for just that week that it took his WWE developmental deal to fucking come in. But that person who did all those things is a shitty judge of modern wrestling talent, I've heard.
Irrelevant.
Irrelevant. You know what you get when you cross an elephant with a rhino? Elephino. But anyway,
stupid.
Seth Rollins was on the card, ladies and gentlemen. And then Brock Lesnar, they built it up all night. Brock Lesnar go wrestle on TV for the first time in 20 years, and he beats Kofi Kingston in 5 seconds. That was perfect. It was perfect. And grinning at the whole time. And then here comes Cain Velasquez. And, they were almost cribbing off my fucking, did they make this deal with Cain Velasquez in the last fucking week and a half since I said I'd love to fucking bring Joe LaDuca in and face Brock Lesnar, somebody the people thought could really fucking kick his ass?
Let me stop you there, because it goes even further back than that, and we got a whole bunch of questions regarding a bunch of things about Cain Velasquez and Dave Meltzer talking about it, different things. But let me read you one right here, Jim, from Twitter, and we'll get to the Stephen P. New plug in a little while. But
okay, well, either that or he'll sue us.
Yes. Hashtag corny drive-through from Pramod Kadka. Hi, Jim. Do you think...
If that is indeed your real name, all right, go ahead.
Do you think WWE writers listen to your shows for ideas? Your idea for Ricochet's debut was Samoa Joe breaks Rey Mysterio, and he will find someone to fight for him. Last week, Brock Lesnar broke down Rey and his son, and Rey asked Cain Velasquez to fight on his behalf. So, like I said, it goes back even further if we're going with the idea they may be listening to the show.
It could very well be complete and utter coincidence. It could very well be that.
Yes. No one in wrestling listens to this show and modifies their television show based on what we said.
Well, not usually, although in some cases it does appear that way. I do know that there are some WWE personnel who shall remain nameless that listen to the program, but besides that, here's my problem. The only problem I got, and I don't know, has Cain been training lately? Because he did look a bit soft. Now, I have said that he never has a physique, but
he's doing lucha, actually, just to let you know. He's been training, and I believe he's actually now working lucha.
Maybe he just, I don't know. Maybe it was just the contrast, but I think somebody else mentioned that too, is that Cain, he's a shoot. And I mean, there's the Tank Abbott, Roy Nelson factor, the tough guys, the Dick Murdochs. They don't always have to look good. But for the wrestling audience, I got the idea that a lot of people there in the building didn't know who it was. And if Cain is not he's not a worker enough yet. He's been a shooter, but he's not a worker enough yet that he came down with mayhem on his face, that he had that presence, that he had, this is a fucking psychopath that's coming to chew up Brock Lesnar, where the people who didn't know who he was would have been visually impressed by it. Now on TV, it was fucking great because you got the announcement, my God, it's Cain Velasquez. And then people kind of, but it's still, it wasn't like Stone Cold Steve Austin in his prime was coming down, just instantly the visual. It was not a great visual.
No, but people, I don't think it's unreasonable to think that they wouldn't know who he was, because I think even a casual person may know the name more than the actual face or who he is.
Yes, well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Instantly, the people in the building weren't sure of what the fuck was going on, because this was not a person from the WWE roster. And especially if you were, in the back rows, even if you're looking at the big screen, Cain Velasquez might not be a fucking household face. So there needed to be some element of physical. Can you imagine Batista coming down? If you'd never seen Batista before, but to look like that and with the intensity in the fucking face, especially if he was Leviathan, his better gimmick than his bland old self.
Oh, come on. He became really good.
All right. But anyway, that's what it needed. It needed, and Cain, he's just coming to, he's got his game face on, but he's not a worker yet. So that was, but
have you heard what Dave Meltzer said about it?
I have not.
Again, going back to the theme of things you said previously, Dave Meltzer said that he thinks they should have you. And again, I haven't listened to it. This is based on what people said to me. So if I get it slightly wrong, please forgive me. But that you should be the mouthpiece for Cain against Heyman and Brock.
Well, are they doing a match in Louisville?
Well, that's the problem right there.
Well, that's the problem. But anyway, what else was on the show? I'm trying to fucking think now. I wasn't prepared to do this, but it was a pretty good fucking. No, of course not. All right. What else was it? You were reading it.
Hold on. Let me go back here. Let's see. Seth Rollins in action. Kevin Owens versus Shane McMahon ladder match.
Oh, how could I forget? Fucking Shane McMahon is a lunatic. He did. How old is Shane now? He's got to be 50.
I think he's probably, he has got to be at least 10 years older than me. So yeah.
I talked to him at the Hall of Fame deal in 2017. I got to sit down with him and Shane's always been my favorite McMahon. I've said this. He's a nice fucking guy. He was not all the way with the business when he was young, full of piss and vinegar, but I think he's calmed down and got it. But he's a fucking lunatic. Not only did he have, and it was over and they did a good job. It was a stunt show match and Owens did, because that's his specialty. But Shane McMahon did a goddamn elbow drop off the top rope 20 feet away to the goddamn announce table and onto Kevin Steen, and they went through the table together. And Shane has no monetary need whatsoever, trust me, ladies and gentlemen, in this, to do that. And he's got a family and kids. They were very nice, well-behaved kids. As a matter of fact, I met them too. And I don't say that about a lot of fucking children. And he's the gutsiest motherfucker. He has no need to do that. He does it because he's like his dad. He's got the balls of steel. But he's gotten better. Here's the bad thing is Shane got a late start and then only wrestled in the stunt matches because he wanted to prove that he was a fucking athlete and take the bumps. But if he'd have started when he was 22 with his athletic ability and his fucking mental state, he could have been, because he's starting to now to be able to figure out how to work. It looks like it's just he's had a fucking 20-year career, but he's only had a year's worth of matches.
How old was Vince when he started working?
What was he? 50?
Okay, so
50-ish?
There's the barometer. Who's a better worker at 50, Shane or Vince at 50?
Oh fuck. Well, Shane is a better athletic performer and Vince was a better old style psychological worker.
Yeah.
With facials and the things that, in that respect that you actually define a worker by. But Shane, as a fucking athlete, is anyway. And so, Shane.
Hey, now that you saw this match, how does, and forgive me for using the term garbage wrestling, but how does the garbage match on a WWE show compare to an AEW one? Because you have been so vocal about those. So when you see a match like this, that's a bit of a train wreck, how does it compare to one of those?
But see, that's the thing. It's still not a garbage match. There were within the perimeter of, they had a ladder match. The same rules.
Okay, I didn't see it. Forgive me then.
It was a ladder match. It was the same rules as fucking Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon, the same rules that they came up with in Calgary. There was no thumbtacks. There's no fucking fluorescent light tubes. There's no goddamn stupidity. They legitimately work a match psychologically with the idea that a motherfucker needs to climb the ladder and get the fucking deal, right? And then they take a few crazy bumps. And believe me, they were crazy. And I'm not saying that other people should do this. I'm saying that it's at this point, it's an amazing physical feat and takes a lot of mental determination and guts to do shit like that, whether it's a good thing to do or not. When you are Shane ain't a billionaire, but he's a multi fucking millionaire. He will never have a GoFundMe. His family is well taken care of.
Son of a billionaire.
And say again?
Son of a billionaire.
No, he's got his own shit now. And that's the thing. He's probably doesn't have as much money as fucking Stephanie and Triple H do because they got all the fucking gimmick going there. But anyway, the point is he has no financial need to do this shit. And he does it. And fuck. It's amazing. He's going to hurt himself. I worry about him.
There was an 8-man tag.
Yeah, I didn't care about that. Because it was an 8-man tag, and who gives a fuck? What else they have?
Roman Reigns versus Erick Rowan.
Yeah, I skipped through that.
Kofi Kingston versus Brock, you said you saw?
Yeah, that was brilliant, and that was it.
And that was it?
But it flew by. The production was excellent. It's network. So the question of who's going to do the best wrestling program is not NXT or All Elite or even Raw. It's fucking Smackdown on Fox.
What'd you think of the commentary?
As I remember, it was pretty good. Who did it?
That's not listed here. I don't know. I think maybe Michael Cole and someone else.
Yeah, no, it was Michael Cole. Michael Cole and I were on the very first Smackdown, the pilot, on UPN in July of 1999. Right before, no, it was April because the show started in July. So in April, and 20 years later, they're on fucking Fox. Michael Cole said to me then, he said, "You're leaving to go to Louisville. What's going to happen if they pick this up to be a series?" I said, "I'd be happy to do it every week if they shoot it in Louisville." Anyway.
Some things never change.
Some things never change. But no, it just overall with the highlight of seeing the Rock, Becky Lynch got the rub of working with the Rock. You had a great girls match. You had a fucking you exposed your superstar in the right way with Seth Rollins. You change your title with Brock Lesnar and shoot a major angle with a shoot opponent, which is what he needs if somebody to be taken seriously. And do a smash up and Shane and Owens, and he was right there. No, that's his kind of match. He does those well. To me, it was a big show, and they didn't do anything stupid. There was no clowns. The other guys just that I may not have particularly cared about the matches because I'm not up on everybody, and it was just a fucking match. You could tell it was a match, but it's not like anybody was performing at a shitty level or outlaw or goofy looking. Nobody with his hands in his pockets.